Was Nipsey Hussle a target, just like Tupac Shakur? Did he fake his death in order to deceive the people or to deceive the government in order to save their own lives? You
This
think
is the
about it
lyrics
and you be the
from
judge. Did he
Nipsey
hook up with the
Hussle's
Nation of
rap
Islam like
song.
Tupac,
Okay,
who helped him fake his
I'm sorry
death?
for the language, but that's how
Questions.
people in in this environment speak. So get over it. LOL, laugh out loud. But the purpose of this video that I want to shed light on, you guys, is that avoid all the negative content that's been placed upon you in order to distract you from what's really going on. Yes, this man may have faked his death. However, you have to look deep into the line. Did he fake this death to pull a wool over your eyes, to help deceive you in some type of way, to tie ends with the conspiracy theorists that the government does things in order to separate us from the truth? In my opinion, I say no. Listen to this. Tupac Shakur faked his death because he was a targeted, because he was a part of the Black Panthers, okay? From birth. His family members was a part of that. So when you become a target, the government caused so much harassment in your life that is unbearable, that you don't want to deal with it, because you always fear that they're going to kill you. You always feel that they're going to set you up. They always feel they're going to imprison you. Okay, same thing happened to Nipsey Hussle. The reason why I say that, his brother Black Sam tried to give us the information low key, to open our eyes, but some people caught it. He stated, when my brother and I first started out, before we became big as Nipsey Hussle, before we really invested into the rap music, we owned our own t-shirt shop. The DA told us to shut our t-shirt shop down. They even tried to get the community against us and tell them stop renting to us so that we will not continue to open up our shop and have business for our community. The managers, or the property managers of this location, told them, the DA does not want you guys here, but however, I feel you guys are doing good for the community. Come up with $1 million or whatever it was, and you guys can own this, and they can't tell you nothing. Once you get your money right, they can't tell you anything, right? So when they went against the grand and bought that property, guess what? That made DA, public offenders, whoever else is tied in within that community angry. Why? Because it showed that Nipsey Hussle has some type of power to run his community. That what happens? Power conflicts with power. Within that community, the police was running that power, because they can tell these people when to go home and when not to go home. But now that Nipsey Hussle on this, if people want to hang out, they allowed to hang out and do whatever they want to do. Why? Because it's his property. Okay, long story short, now you become my enemy. And on the outside looking in, it looks like this man, Nipsey Hussle, was doing good for his community. He is, he was, he did, he still is, right? But to the police, it look like you taking our power from us. We need you out of here. So what happens? You become a target. People understand, when people become a target, your life is, wow, on 10, on 100, whatever you want to call it, for every little thing. Just as simple as making a transaction to buy an ice cream at the ice cream shop. They're going to cause problems for you. They're going to always try to set you up. The police is always going to be around you. You're always going to get raided. They're going to try to hit you with gun charges, drug charges, any charges, okay? So now you see how all this stuff is unfolding. Stop thinking because it's public records that it's off correct or true information. Public records can be falsified or twisted just to give you enough information so you can run with it. So when this new charge come out that you guys are all referring to, that they stated Nipsey Hussle assaulted a 14-year-old teenage girl, he said those were chump charges, meaning something to that extent was falsified. We have to look into that too. Okay, and remember, ladies, when you was 16 years old, you probably dated guys that was 21 years old and lied about your age. Let's not cast stones until we carry all the stones out of our pockets. But long story short, the point of this video is to get you to understand, did Nipsey Hussle sacrifice his life, not in a way to sacrifice as God, because he's not God. Never put this man on a pedestal as God, to help his community? Why? Because you worth more dead than you are alive. Okay, look at his timeline. Look what that says right there. Open up trust accounts, deposit racks, meaning money, $1 million life insurance. Why? Because the marathon must continue, dead or alive. So don't think that, in my opinion, I don't think this man faked his death in order to deceive us. I feel this man faked his death in order to run away from the government, the conspiracies of them trying to get to him, because he knew something was going to happen. He knew that they was following him, because when you become a target, they let it be known. They don't hide it. They don't hide it. They let you know, we own you, we following you, and we want you. So you become fearful. Before he died, he had a video, and they said he had heavy security because he felt like somebody was after him. So that's all I want you guys to take a spin on this and look at it and think of it as that way. Did this man fake his life to deceive the government and not his fans? Because he's still putting back in his community. He owns 14 businesses and was about to open a business in Vegas, a 15, I think it was a 1,500 room hotel, okay, called Virgin Vegas, not on the strip but down the street from the strip, okay? So think about it. So stop assuming that everything is against us, because you got to be careful. The media will have you believing the oppressor real quick. So that's my opinion. I think this man, like Tupac, had to fake his death because the government was after him. They told him that he needed to go back to jail for 10 more years. Once they catch him, it was on. Okay, then look at David Chappelle. Why did David Chappelle walk away from a $50 million contract? Because he's seen something was wrong. And he's going to tell you his story, that how the industry worked. The industry will pimp these celebrities. Do you want to be pimped? No, you feel bad about that. So you try to get away. But the only problem is it's not that easy. It's like a gang. You can't just get in and then walk away. It's blood in or blood out. Either you're going to put blood in, meaning you're going to sacrifice somebody's life for us, or we're going to sacrifice your life. So either you do it yourself or you really be put into the coffin. Okay, so think about that, you guys. Stop believing everything, the negativity that's coming out. They always try to overpower the good by bringing up something negative. Martin Luther King, he was a terrorist. He was in prison about 15 times, you guys. If you didn't know that man and the good that he did, you would classify Martin Luther King as a criminal. So let that sink in, and attaches the video of Tupac proclaiming to be targeted because he was a Black Panther. And at the end of that, you will see David Chappelle's side of the story. Thank you for listening.
FBI's counterintelligence program, COINTELPRO. And I don't think you can talk, even in celebratory moments, when we talk about the Black Panther Party, and when we talk about the Shakur family, who were targets of COINTELPRO. COINTELPRO stands for Counterintelligence Program. And it was organized by J. Edgar Hoover and the FBI. And it went beyond just gathering intelligence. It was counterintelligence, where you're going in, infiltrating organizations, creating false evidence, framing people up, getting people arrested, killed, creating a situation where you don't have to get your hands dirty. What the FBI would do in those cases is start wars that led to, for example, the Chicago police murdering Fred Hampton. They gave them the intelligence, they gave them the will, they said you better do a preemptive strike, and he's your target. All that intelligence came from the FBI. But there was also intelligence that came from the FBI that caused a terrible split within the Black Panther Party. And it led to a war within the Black Panther Party. These brave women and men who are on the front lines against the cops in the middle of the night and on street corners and going without sleep so they could get up early to feed other people's kids, now are going at each other. And it was called East Coast, West Coast. Does that sound familiar? Too familiar. Too familiar. And so we talked about that even when Tupac was alive, what COINTELPRO was. And now more and more, as we reveal police documents, we see that some of these things were orchestrated and organized by the police. And if you keep tracing that DNA and those fingerprints, it will lead to the FBI and to other places. And so that underscores of, yes, I think he was targeted. And not only was he targeted because he was a Shakur, he was targeted by that same counterintelligence COINTELPRO kind of program. The young brother was like, oh man, come on, Pop, don't be playing, man. You be getting paid, you got all the women, you be shooting at the police. And Pac said, time out. If that's why I'm your hero, then I don't need to be your hero. And he said, Uncle Jamal, I realized something. He said, they're going to kill me. He said, they have to kill me because I'm a Shakur. My choice is, do I go out like Tony Montana for Scarface, or do I go out like Malcolm X? And I want to go out like Malcolm X. Now, of course, my response is what a Godfather's response would be. Pac, you're not going to die. Let's not think about that. Let's claim life. Let's do whatever. And Pac would listen politely. He says, I hear you, but nevertheless, here's what I want to do. And this is when he began to lay out his vision, you know, of these community centers, of doing more film, because music is, you know, they're just going to rob you. Film, you get to make a statement and keep the money. He also talked about the fact that he was going to stop getting high. He said, because I said that even as things progressed, Tupac was able to take a step back in his own life. And toward the end of his life, and that's when he did the One Nation Project, that's when he recorded a lot of songs. Now, did he record so many songs because he believed he was going to die? I actually believe he recorded those many songs because he believed he was going to live. Because of the bond with his mother, because of his relationship with Kidada. I think he wanted to satisfy his contract and just go, I promise you this many albums, here you go. I'm going to build this company, I'm going to do that. So I do believe that that moment changed. But yes, I think he was targeted because he was a Shakur, and because they know connected with that name was not just the legacy, but the activism and the ability to organize millions. That he had millions of ears that was listening to him around the world. Whenever you do that, and then he began to go, see, the other thing too, for just a moment, the Code of Thug Life is a revolutionary document. And if you don't know about the code, please, you know, have our, the people that are watching this or listening to this, go online and look at Tupac's Code of Thug Life. He began to broker the peace between these gangs, and just begin to return to some values. It wasn't exactly the 10-point program of the Black Panther Party, but it was rooted in the same thing that I've been talking about in the Black Panther Party, that love for the community. Let's stop shooting at each other. Let's not snitch on each other. Let's not deal drugs in the hood. This is revolutionary if gangs are allowed to flourish because they're doing the job of the oppressor in terms of eliminating young black men. That's what neocolonialism is. I don't have to come in as the oppressor in my uniform, with my army, with my people who look different, and kill you and lock you up. What I can do is create a psychological climate of self-hatred. I can pour in the guns and pour in the drugs and step back and let you do it to yourselves. And nobody is seeing where it's really coming from. So when you introduce something like the Code of Thug Life into that, that's revolutionary. And so Fred Hampton got killed in Chicago for the same thing. He had taken the Young Lords, the toughest, best organized, largest street gang, Puerto Rican street gang in Chicago, and helped them become a revolutionary organization called the Young Lords Party. And then he's talking to...
All knew Oprah, he was the hottest comedian in the country. Then he mysteriously disappeared. Why Dave Chappelle walked away from $50 million.
Nobody knew where you were going. Now, that sounds a little crazy.
The widely reported rumors.
People were saying you were on drugs, you went into a mental institution. What was going on?
His first television interview. And the big question, will Dave go back to his show?
I can't believe I'm saying this, but this is what I want to do.
Successful television series. How could he have walked away from a $50 million contract?
Man,
I'll tell you what happened, but I can't say it directly. There's a book to me that encapsulates my entire experience before I left the show. And the book is called Pimp, written by a black American who was a pimp in the 40s. He describes in detail how these men break women so that they will give them the money that they make with their own bodies.
because, when you're a guy that generates money,
Yeah.
people have a vested interest in controlling.
There's a story in here so cold it makes me shudder to think about it. But Iceberg Slim is trying to control a woman that he finds uncontrollable.
I would go to work on the show, and I felt awful every day. I felt like some kind of prostitute or something. Like, if I feel so bad, why I keep showing up to this place?
So he asks the older pimp how he can rein her in. And the older pimp says, oh, that's easy, Iceberg. All you have to do is beat that bitch with a coat hanger.
I felt like in a lot of instances, I was deliberately being put through stress.
And then run her a bath and give her some pills.
They were trying to get me to take psychotic medication.
She'll be so grateful that you fixed her that she'll forget you were the motherfucker that beat her in the first place.
I forgot the hostility of the environment of show business.
Well, maybe there's something else going on. Maybe these rapes aren't even the worst of it. Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something? Now, end of this book, Iceberg Slim tells a story. It's kind of the crescendo of the book. Iceberg Slim's bottom bitch is at the end of her mileage. She was bubbling. You could see it. She was going crazy. He had to let her go.